Hello everyone, the doctor is in, and thanks again to the Chosen Prime. We're going to be taking a look at Planet X Triton, aka Paddles. Triton follows the aesthetic of the Fall of Cybertron Dinobots. Obviously not part of the game, but in the same aesthetic. I do really like the aesthetic that Planet X has done with these set of Dinobots. You do have your basic general colors of gray, gold or mustard yellow, and red, with the highlighted pink areas. I never thought I'd say I like pink on a toy, but it does really accentuate what the colors were in the video game. And I do realize that Triton is a plesiosaur, which wasn't a quadruped, but I thought this pose was a good representation of what it would look like swimming and maybe coming to the surface. As far as the plesiosaurus mode goes, I do like the head, mouth, and appendage articulation, but I'm a bit disappointed with the lack of neck and tail articulation. It would have really added to the display feature of this figure if the neck and tail were more mobile. The seal-like appendages are nice, and it can even be placed in a quadruped mode, but the front fins are a bit loose. They can be placed in an upright position or splayed out. There is no in-between, unfortunately. Transformation for Triton into robot mode is not overly complex, and it is very similar to Neptune's transformation. I do like the way that the neck collapses, but personally, I would sacrifice that if it meant more neck mobility. The peg that holds the neck in place in alt mode is difficult to keep in place and falls out very easily. In addition, there is a tab below the shoulder joint that tabs into the sides of the chest, but does not lock in or click in. This presents a problem when trying to pose the shoulders or arms, as the tabs tend to fall out easily. Seems to follow cues from previous Planet X Dinobot transformation, and as I said, very similar to Neptune, which is no surprise. As for Triton's weaponry and accessories, the tail weapon will fit into either fist, but the elbow joints on this particular figure are loose and cannot support its weight. It's the same situation for the large cannons, as they are too heavy to be supported by the loose elbows. This is a potentially fixable issue, however, it is still a bit disappointing. The cannons look as if they were meant to have some kind of transformation or mech tech gimmick, but other than the handle flipping in or out, they are static. It can also be placed up on the flipper ports and used as shoulder cannons as well. The swords are nice and much lighter, so they can be wielded in many poses. There are also these small red plugs, which I assume are to cover up screws in the chest shown here. Finally, I'm not sure if it can be truly appreciated in the video, but the light piping in robot and alt modes is very nice. Robot mode articulation is decent. The head is on a ball joint and has good mobility. There is shoulder rotation and outward movement, and there's also a bicep swivel. But as you can see, the tab and the side of the chest slips out fairly easily. The elbows are hinged, the fists do rotate around, and the forefingers are on a hinge as well. The waist does rotate 360 degrees. The hips are on ratcheted swivels and hinges. There is a single thigh swivel that I did not illustrate well there, and the knees are double jointed. Unfortunately, there is no ankle articulation. My final thoughts on Triton. I do wish that the shoulders here, the tabs that tab in, were locked in instead of just using a friction tab, because they do tend to fall out when trying to pose or move around the shoulder joints. The elbows, I wish could be a little bit tighter. They don't hold weight very well. I do wish there were also some more ankle articulation. As far as the alt mode, the neck and the tail could use a little bit more of articulation. They're just kind of static, other than the head, and very, very minor articulation in the tail. It'd been nice to be able to pose that better in that mode. Besides that, I do think the aesthetic is spot on. It does match the other Fall of Cybertron Dinobots very well, and I do like the fact that they went out on a limb to create a Dinobot that is new and unique, different from the rest. I want to say thanks again to the Chosen Prime. I hope you enjoyed this review. This is Dr. Prime. Thanks for watching. The Doctor is out.